So welcome to our session, and with no further ado, I want to introduce the chair of the Department of Learning Technologies, which is Dr. Yoonjo An, and you can take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Yoonjo An. I'm the department chair of the Department of Learning Technology. My office is located in the Discovery Park, and here is my email address. Let me tell you a bit about my background. I received my bachelor's degree from Inhwa Women's University in Korea, and then got my master's and PhD degrees in instructional systems technology from Indiana University, Bloomington. And before I joined UNT in 2018, I taught at the University of West Georgia and Texas A&M University in Texarkana. Next slide, please. My research interests include digital game-based learning, gamification of learning, and game design by students. We call that constructionist gaming. And also I'm interested in learner-centered technology integration, which means using technology for learner-centered instruction, and online learning and blended learning, and some complex problem solving and scaffolding. Our department has very strong faculty members. Our faculty members have expertise in various areas, including instructional design, technology integration, online learning, blended learning, virtual reality, augmented reality, AI, game-based learning, critical thinking, and so forth. So many different areas. And they are very passionate about helping students. And our department also has several research centers and labs, including TSAT, Texas Center for Educational Technology, the Institute for the Integration of Technology into Teaching and Learning, Center for Affective Neurotechnologies, and Surge XR Lab. And our faculty members and students are working on very innovative and creative research projects. And I'm very proud of their work. Next slide. We offer several scholarships and awards to our graduate students. These 4 scholarships are graduate students. And last year in fall 2021, we started offering a competitive 3-year award to new students. So that is new award for our graduate students. And you can learn about these scholarships from our website. And now Dr. Regina Kaplan-Rukowski will tell you about our master's program. Thank you.
Welcome to our webinar. My name is Regina Kaplan-Rukowski. This is my 3rd year at UNT as a lecturer, and it's the 2nd year as the director of Master of Science program in Learning Technologies. My main responsibilities are to teach various LTech, the Learning Technologies, we say LTech courses, but I also coordinate the MS program. I deal with the program evaluation, with its promotion, advising admissions and curriculum. As for my background, I obtained my doctoral degree at Southern Illinois University, focusing on instructional design, technology and design. I also have 2 master degrees in the area of foreign languages and European studies. Next slide, please. My research area, my research interests are at the intersection of 3 areas. Immersive learning technologies, that's where I study virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and other immersive learning environments. Another area is emotional responses to learning technologies. I study performance, anxiety, and sense of presence, motivation, engagement, aspects like that. And my 3rd area is computer-assisted language learning. As far as, and yeah, here are representations of those areas on the slides. Please, next slide. Here you go. And the last one. Here we go. Thank you so much. And as far as our department, as far as our program, let me tell you, let me tell you more about what we offer. I will start with Professor Scott Warren, who will tell us a little bit about our tracks and what people graduating from our program can expect to get as far as job opportunities. Dr. Warren, could we ask you? Thank you.
Absolutely. So the instructional systems track is really intended to help prepare students for understanding the broad array of software, hardware, and other technologies that are used in schools, universities, and corporate settings, so that they can be integrated in a meaningful manner to help improve human performance. In the instructional systems design track, that's really about designing instruction for students and supporting those that are developing instruction. So that is more targeted at higher education and some in undergraduate, although it is increasingly in demand in corporate settings as well. Instructional systems technology is really focused on the back-end systems, really supporting the networking components, server-based components that make everything run related to instructional technologies in learning and performance organizations in corporate, higher ed, and K-12. The artificial intelligence track is a new one that we are offering in order to help prepare students for the future related to machine learning and being able to engage in programming that allows us to be able to make better decisions going forward related to what it is that we're going to do with learning and helping support students with personalized learning and other data-driven sorts of approaches for instruction. The Teaching and Learning with Technologies track is one of our oldest, and that's focused on all of you that may be interested in becoming a technology specialist in a K-12 school district. That's something I actually did myself once upon a time. And so that helps you learn how to work with teachers in integrating technology in a meaningful way in their classrooms on a day-to-day basis. The next one is workforce leadership and development. So this is really focused more on your corporate training spaces. So for all of you that have experienced things like compliance training and things like that, we help you to build those types of things and understand what their uses are, but also how to make that type of thing much more engaging, both from a digital perspective as well as a face-to-face one-on-one perspective. The last one is project management and workforce performance. So with all of these things, we need someone who can be a strong project manager to build out complex technologies to support teaching and learning out there in the field, especially in corporate, but also increasingly in higher education. And so project management is a skill that we have in business so that we can build stronger teams. And we actually offer some courses in things like team sciences and really help you learn how to organize complex projects so that you can build these complex, important technologies that support the training and learning that people do every day. Back to you.
Thank you so much. I hope you, Dr. Warren, convinced you of how wonderful our tracks are. Very interesting with a lot of prospects for the future for our graduates. Now, let me tell you just a couple of sentences about the courses, some course examples we have. So one of them is computer graphics for mediated communications. It's basically students learn how to design different graphics using, for example, Photoshop. And another course we offer is web authoring. So as the name tells, students learn how to build websites. Of course, all of these have to follow some very important instructional principles. We also have a course on video technology where students learn how to make videos from scratch, learning about different aspects of what a very good video looks like. For instructional reasons, again, we have technology-based learning environments class where students learn from scratch how to build a course, online course. Think about COVID and how it's been important for everyone to have that skill, not only basically every teacher or every person in the corporate world. And also we have multimedia in technology applications. Next slide, please. Some other courses include new technologies instruction. So we study more advanced technologies, innovative and emerging ones. We have a course on online design and pedagogy. That's where the students learn foundation of the basis and foundation of online learning. We also have a course, actually a line of courses on artificial intelligence, instructional design, systems design, and also a research class where students learn how to understand at least simple research, with a hope that they will also be able to understand even what's there in the research world. So maybe if they ever have an interest in following with a PhD program, they get that basis in our master's program. And about PhD program, you will hear about in a moment. And the whole coursework is wrapped up by a class called Capstone, Integrated Portfolios. That's where students put all the projects that they've been developing in the course of the program, they put together in a portfolio so that they can be ready to go, apply for jobs, and have better prospects. And next slide, please. Yeah, some examples of more innovative technologies we study is virtual reality, also augmented reality. Next slide, please. And also artificial intelligence. So we study all these things to help students situate themselves in the world today. Next slide, please. And as far as some highlights of our program, actually, to apply to our program, you don't even have to have GRE. We don't require thesis for graduation, which is also nice in a way that it's very, our program is very much hands-on, project-based program. And almost every, maybe not every, but many classes end with a fully developed project that goes to a portfolio, which is more useful and practice-based than a thesis. And our courses are flexible and asynchronous most of the time, which means that a lot of our students actually have full jobs and families and all the things that are in life. But in our program, they can study in a synchronous way, where they choose when to study rather than being forced by going to a class, because all our classes are actually online. And we also are happy to have an accelerated mode, which means that some of the classes that are typically 16 run for 16 weeks, we condense them to 8 weeks, which allows for earlier graduation. Well, I hope we explained well what our program is about, and we hope to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kaplan-Orkowski. That was very informative. Is Katie Bell here? I don't see her in the, I saw her in, okay, great. So Katie Bell Edwards is one of our alumna, and she's joining us tonight to tell you about her own experience in the program, and I'll let her take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Bell Edwards. As Lisa said, I recently graduated with my Master's of Science in Learning Technologies. I chose the Project Management in Workforce Performance path. Prior to getting my master's degree, I actually received my Bachelor of Science in Integrative Studies from UNT, and learning technologies was a major component of that degree. So that's really where I figured out web authoring and learning how to design graphics, more about course, laying out a great course and training modules. All of these little bits and pieces that were putting me on a path to what ultimately is my current title as the Director of Project Management. So the field I work in is in university fundraising. So all of the scholarships, all of the programs, there are people who work directly with donors and alumni to get those funded, to make opportunities for students a reality. And I've had both the pleasure of working with professionals to help facilitate those kind of fundraising opportunities and receiving them as a student myself. A little bit more about me. I'm a first-generation student, so neither of my parents went to college, and I'm also non-traditional. When I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do for my bachelor's degree, I took a long time. I actually stopped out at one point to try and work and put myself through college. And I think that that's something that drew me to learning technologies was really just the flexibility, the fact that I could work full time and pursue my degree without it being, just an unrealistic goal. It was totally manageable to be able to do both. Next slide, please. So for my graduate experience, the foundational courses that Dr. Kaplan-Rakowski mentioned are just unbelievable. You start out with, instructional design, you get your feet wet learning exactly what the principles of learning are, how to design something as both the instructor and, as the learner is really valuable. From there, I went on to learn more about project management. I had already had a background in project management, but this really solidified and provided a foundation for best practices in the industry. There was also a course on organizational development, which I absolutely loved. It really added value to my current position in learning how to support change management activities, how to make good, feasible recommendations for organizational changes and movements. So all of those foundational courses really were applicable to my current work. I was also able to conduct quite a bit of research during the 14 months I was in the program. And a lot of that focused around fundraising because it's my current industry. And so I was able to partner with Dr. Rose Baker, who was just phenomenal to work with. And she is an absolute expert on so many different areas, but she introduced me to performance improvement. And so together we did an independent study course, and we basically explored performance improvement in fundraising, and we interviewed development officers to get their experiences. And ultimately, I was able to join the International Society of Performance Improvement and present at their 2021 conference. I'll be joining them again this year for a different proposal, but this one will be in person in Nashville. So I'm really excited about that. If you could go back real quick, sorry. And as far as funding, I was a recipient of several scholarships, one being the Roger Ditzenberger Scholarship. And then I also received both research and travel grants from the Toulouse Graduate School and from the College of Information. So essentially, I was able to get my degree completely paid for, and on top of that, received amazing professional development opportunities. It also provided, again, through ISPI, incredible networking opportunities. And I've worked with several of the staff members and the faculty members, and felt supported throughout. I think that they identified a lot of opportunities for me that I wasn't even really aware of. And I was just so happy to have that kind of community support. Next slide, please. And then I just wanted to share just a bit about my portfolio. Of course, you're going to get great academic writing, but as Dr. Kaplan-Rakowski mentioned, a lot of it is project-based. And so you end up with a portfolio of a variety of different things. So on the left, I've got a model that I helped create for an ISPI conference that was part of our presentation to the Namibian government, which is, not something I went into the program ever expecting, but absolutely fabulous. On the right was more of an app that I developed in game-based learning and simulation for training for fundraising professionals. And I just think that these are both two really different aspects of what I was able to come away with. And I fully credit the wonderful faculty with, bringing the best out in me and giving me such diverse opportunities to showcase my skill set.
Thank you so much, Katie Bell. I think I need to read some of your research, and in my current job, it would be helpful. So we appreciate your time so much. Let's go on to the next program. So we've kind of wrapped up the Masters of Science in Learning Technologies, which is 100% online. And now Dr. Spector is going to talk to us about the PhD program.
Hi, welcome. This is Mike Spector. I'm the director of the doctoral program in learning technologies. And we actually have two versions of this program. One is the traditional face-to-face residential program, and the other one is a distributed online program. The residential students typically, in both cases, most of our students are working professionals. The residential students generally take 3 courses each long semester, and then the online or distributed students typically take 2 courses each semester, including 2 in the summer. And in both cases, the intention is to get students through the doctoral program in about 4 years. And we average maybe slightly more than 4 years because students typically slow down a little bit when they get to dissertation time. The programs are pretty much similar. They consist of 60 to 69 doctoral credits. The difference in 9 is we sometimes have students who don't have appropriate technology development skills. And so we have 3 courses that are aimed at improving technology skills. So the emphasis in the program is really on using technology to improve learning and instruction, but that requires some technology skills along the way. Both programs are cohort based and they start typically in the fall. Sometimes the online distributed students will take courses in the summer if they want to take those tool courses, up to 3 credits or up to 3 courses to develop their technology skills. But in general, it's the same course structure, although the residential students have the option of having a minor in another discipline, although very few of our students elect to do that. In both cases, students are supported by an associate graduate faculty member who acts as a mentor all the way through the program. And we have some outstanding mentors in that program. I should add, it's not been said before, but the Learning Technologies Department is basically the largest one of its kind in this country. We have an amazing collection of faculty with a wide area of expertise, ranging from instructional design to project management, and with emphasis in a number of technologies, some of which have already been mentioned, such as VR, virtual reality, augmented reality, game-based learning, and so forth. The doctoral program basically consists of 3 exams. There is a qualifying exam, which is portfolio-based, and the portfolio is built as you go through the course structure and consists of scholarly writings, some technology-based creative works, a CV, and reflections on progress through the course and your own development. So that's the first exam, and it's fairly easy. And you should know ahead of time that you're going to pass that because it's developed in the last course you take, which is 6480, which prepares you for that qualifying exam. And once you pass that, you become a doctoral candidate. The second part of that qualifying exam is a discussion with your dissertation committee about your research interest. The second defense is your dissertation proposal. And that's where you present what you're going to do in the dissertation. If it's a standard dissertation where it's a single study, for example, the emphasis will be on the focus of the study and the methodology associated with that study. And that's the defense where you'll get a lot of constructive feedback from your dissertation committee. And the third defense is where you actually defend the dissertation. And that should again be easy, like the qualifying exam. You should know ahead of time because you've been working with your dissertation committee and showing them progress along the way. And that should be basically a scholarly discussion of what you found and what you might do or others might do based on the work that you've done in the program. So that's an overview of our program. Let's see the highlights. I mentioned already we have a large faculty. It's the largest I know of in the country. I've been at a number of other universities, very distinguished universities, but none have the breadth of expertise we have in our faculty. 20 full-time faculty members. We've recently have 2 incoming faculty to add to the program. We have associate graduate faculty. all of whom are highly experienced. And among those associate graduate faculty members are two former journal editors, so that not only are they highly experienced, they're nationally and internationally known scholars for the associate graduate faculty members. They serve as mentors for individuals going through the program, and they work with 6 or 8 doctoral students as they go along. As mentioned earlier, we have a number of active grants and research labs associated with the program. We have international relationships as well, which isn't mentioned here, but we have memoranda of agreements with East China Normal University in Shanghai, with Beijing Normal University in Beijing, and with the India Institute of Technology in Kharagpur in India. And that provides us with a number of opportunities for students and visiting faculty from those locations as well. Among the faculty, the current faculty, in addition to the associate graduate faculty, can you go back? I wasn't quite finished with that. I'm talking fast, but not fast enough, as the slide person is telling me. We have a number of journal editors. I'm a formal journal editor. Lin is a journal editor, and there's a number of others. And these are top-ranked journals in the field. Educational research, technology research and development is one of those. And we also have editors of international research book. Professor Knisik and myself have edited several versions of these international research handbooks. Then you can go on to the next slide, and I'll slow down. So as I mentioned, we have very active and highly distinguished faculty at all levels. Is this my slide or someone else supposed to speak to this? Is this Dr. An?
Nope, this is still your slide from the slides you sent me, and I apologize for jumping to this slide. I thought you were talking about China and India, so I thought you
Oh, okay, I didn't know. I didn't remember where it was. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Oh, okay. No, that was good. Somebody's keeping up with these things. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm proud to be associated with this faculty. I mean, as I mentioned several times, we have a large distinguished faculty members. We have courses and curriculum that are continually being updated and brought up to date, because technologies are constantly changing. I think on another slide, there's one of my favorite mantras. It's not about the technology, it's about learning. So it's a learning technologies department, and it's about the use of technology to promote learning and instruction. So we have access to a lot of resources and affiliations with a number of institutions in other countries. And I didn't mention NetDragon, which is one of the world's largest producers of game-based applications. And they've sponsored a digital research center at the University of North Texas, and are sponsoring research in my own area of interest, which is critical thinking skill development, critical thinking skills for children, actually for middle school children. So then we can go on to the next slide. Okay. Yeah, so getting a PhD, it's a scholarly degree, and our students are from a broad range of areas, including K-12, business and industry, the government sector. And this degree in PhD in learning technologies prepares you to work in any of these sectors as a developer, as an evaluator, as an advisor, and with specializations in a broad number of areas, as was mentioned, both at the master's and the doctoral level. So I think I'll let that go. Oh, there's my, technologies change. Yeah, this is one of my mantras. They change what people do, what they can do, what they want to do, and eventually what they want to avoid doing. It's not about the technology, it's about learning. It's about using learning to support, using technology to support learning. So I think we're ending that on my mantra there.
Okay, and Dr. Spector, I had seen a question in the Q&A, and I believe somebody answered it, so thank you. But
I answered one. It was about the specializations at the master's level.
While you were talking, it was about whether or not somebody could work full-time and do the 9 hours during the PhD program. Can you want to answer that live?
I can do that. In principle, that's possible. It depends on the individual and on which courses you're taking. Some of our courses take a lot of time to develop. So I think you will be working closely with your associate graduate faculty member and with your major professor, and they might advise you not to take 9 hours, depending on which courses you have in mind. I've advised some of my students that way, but we have some really highly capable students that are able to manage a full-time job, kids, and 9 credits in a long semester. That's unusual. That's an incredibly heavy load, but we have some talented students who can do that. The typical thing is that 9 credits for the residential program is considered full-time. I would say many of our students are in the residential program are not full-time. They're taking 6 hours, and they're going to take a little bit longer than 4 years to graduate. They might take 5 or 6 years to graduate. So it's possible. It depends on your personal situation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Spector. And again, I apologize for the slide jumping around.
I was also fine. Thank you for organizing this.
Oh, you're welcome. So if you've heard enough that you're now ready to apply to the program, here's some information about applying. If you want to apply to the master's in the online master's program, there's step 1. You have to apply to the Toulouse Graduate School. And Dana Mordecai is here from the Toulouse Graduate School. So if you have a question specific to that, feel free to put it in the Q&A and she can answer for us. And some of you might have noticed if you have an account on the old Apply Texas that it's changed for the fall. There's a new link. So make sure you go to the new Apply Texas to do the fall application. I see a question in the chat. Thank you. I was mostly wondering, this is from Carrie, whether the face-to-face courses were offered in the evenings for the residential program to enable full-time work, but great information about the course load as well. Did anybody answer that for Carrie? Carrie, did you get your answer?
No, but most of our courses are offered in the evening, including the residential courses. So the ones I'm familiar with are in any case. And I failed to mention that the doctoral program does require the GRE or the GMAT. So that's a difference with the master's degree. I don't know if it was on a slide or I just failed to mention it.
Well, here, it's going to be on the next slide. This is the boring information, so I saved it to the end. So okay. Here's the PhD information. Let's see, does it say something about the GRE here? Right. I believe it does. Yes, you have to submit your GRE scores. I think that's pretty common for any PhD program.
It is. There's no minimum score. We just use that as an indicator. So we regard other things as perhaps better evidence. So there's no minimum GRE requirement, but we do require the score.
Yeah, you want to see, right? Okay, and then I see that Perla has a question about when the deadline to apply and be accepted for fall 2022 is, and perhaps that might be a question for Dana, or can one of you answer that question?
I think March for the doctoral program, I think March 10th might be the deadline. I don't know about the master's program. We moved it up a little bit.
Okay.
This is Dana. One thing I'll mention, I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. One thing I'll mention is that scholarship deadlines also may play into some of the decision-making process, especially for the doctoral students. And so many of our scholarship deadlines are really towards the end of March, and you must be admitted to the program for you to be eligible for many of the scholarships. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the timing of that. That also goes for the master's programs as well. So while and I'm not sure, someone, Dr. Kaplan-Rakowski may have to jump in about the application deadline or the admission deadline for the master's program. But it could be possible that you're looking at a much later date of an admission deadline for the program, which could be past some of the scholarship deadlines. So you really have to maybe, keep track of all of these. I know it can be a complex spreadsheet sometimes if you're looking at, when do I need to submit everything? What do I have to be eligible for? And how do I make sure all of that is happening?
Thank you, Dana. And it looks like Dr. Ahn has put a link for the doctoral program deadline, which is March 10th, to apply and be well, you have to finish applying by March 10th. You may not know your acceptance yet, I guess. It takes a little while. And then Oscar has a question. After completing step 1 for the PhD, do we then submit the following requirements for step 2, or will we be contacted to do those steps? And that's probably a question for maybe Dana again.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So while we have 2 different steps for either the master's or the doctoral program, they really can be done concurrently. So we actually strongly suggest that you look at each of those. And with that step 1 process, really all that is going to happen with that part of the application is that the graduate admissions office is going to evaluate your transcripts and then forward that application to the department. And so the program actually is making that admission decision, but they'll need those other components of the application in order to make that decision. But you can go ahead and submit all of those other documents that are required, such as the letters of recommendation or your resume, all of those pieces. Go ahead and submit those, really as soon as you submit the Applied Texas application.
Thank you again, Dana. Yes, okay, so, and I see that Dr. Warren is typing an answer to the next question. Okay, so you got that one answered. And are there any more questions that the attendees would like to put into the Q&A? We still have about 15-20 minutes if you have any questions left. I also have a few more slides that we can go over that are, it's kind of the, the details, the nitty-gritty about applying and things that you have to keep in mind. So maybe while you're thinking, if you have any questions, oh, there's already another question. Does the accelerated MS begin in August or prior to the traditional start of the fall semester? Dr. Kaplan-Rakowski, do you know the answer to that?
Okay, so I know I mentioned accelerated program, but it's each semester we have classes that are both in regular 16-week classes and 8-week class courses. There's no difference between semesters. So yes, all the time.
So basically, if they took the traditional, they'd be in class for 16 weeks and finish 1 class. But if they do the accelerated, they could take 2 classes, 8 weeks, but starting at the same time and finishing at the same time.
Oh, that was a lot of.
Sorry.
In the evening, and I'm not processing, so I'm sorry.
I think if they do the accelerated, it's the same time period, but they get 2 classes done instead of 1, maybe?
It's basically, okay, first of all, not all classes are accelerated, but there are certain classes that are designed in a way that we can pack the information or the content into 8 weeks rather than 16. And usually the way it works that students would take maybe 1 regular class, 16-week class, and 2 accelerated classes. So one would be, let's say, in the first section of the semester, the first 8 weeks, then the second one could be in the second 8-week portion of the semester. So in this way, they can basically take 2 classes simultaneously, 2 different portions. So
yeah, no, that's exactly what I meant.
It will result in 3 classes per semester.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant. And then she kind of clarified. She wants to know, in other words, would they start in August with everyone else, not in July, for example? The intake, when did the classes start?
The classes start in August.
Okay, normal semester.
Yeah, but summer classes start in already May, June.
Okay, so if they're joining fall 2022, it's August, and if they're joining summer, which I don't know if the deadline for that has already passed or not, then it would be May.
I think for this we accept applications until the 3rd week of April.
Okay.
For the summer.
Okay. So if you want to hurry up, guys. And then Ravi said he missed the answer to his question, which was answered live. Ravi, do you want to repeat your question in the Q&A? Does anyone remember well, let me look under answered questions. Oh, I'm a current master's student at UNT majoring in data science. Can you please let me know if there are any funding opportunities for a PhD, for the PhD program, learning technologies? Maybe that's a Dr. Spector question.
Oh, yeah, there are some of those possibilities exist, but be considered, you have to be accepted into the program. And then we have some teaching and research assistantships, which are competitive, but they are given to people who are already accepted into the program. So there's no guarantee prior to acceptance of financial support.
That makes sense. Okay. And then we have an anonymous question about this was probably for Dr. Kaplan-Rakowski or maybe Dr. Warren, maybe both of you, a recommended word count for the personal statement when applying for the MS.
To be honest, I don't remember.
Was it on the slide? Hold on, maybe it was on the slide. Let's look back.
I read them all the time, but I do not pay attention if they are 200, 300 or 500 words. Usually they are about 2 pages long, I would say. I wouldn't worry about the number of words. I would worry more about the quality of what's in there. So I never count how many words I have to read.
And here it recommends what you should talk about in your personal statements. So Dr. Warren, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say it's commonly, historically, it's been between 500 and 1,000 words, usually, or 750 to 1,000, a page or two. It's just to get us a sense of who you are and why you want to come hang out with us and learn from us. That's really the whole thing. It should be somewhat formal, but at the same time, tell us something about you and how we can help you achieve your goals as a student. So that's really the main focus. If it's less than 500 words and you can do that, great. Because we're reading all of these and everybody's busy. So do it as comfortable for you.
Okay. And I believe we have covered all the questions that were in the Q&A box. If I missed your question, please go ahead and type it again or, alert me somehow. I'll look back up through the questions. We still have a little bit of time left. We have about 10, 15 minutes. So why don't I go ahead and go through the rest of the slides and just make sure that there's no stones left unturned. There's the PhD admissions information. And of course, we have an advising staff, a whole advising staff, and they're happy to answer questions for you, especially once you're admitted. If you need any help with planning out your degree plan, CI-advising@UNT will help you. And then, of course, for MS program questions, there's the email. And for PhD program questions, there's Dr. Spector's email. You can send them any questions after the webinar. So a lot of times people ask about the tuition costs, and there's a new tuition calculator on the UNT website. I put it here, the link. It's actually pretty good. I went and checked it out and put in a bunch of different pieces of information, and it came up really well and easily and very clear. But in general, if we take out living costs, a Texas resident for 1 year is going to be about that much. And then out of state, you can see what it would be. And then international students, of course, have some additional fees. Now, these examples for international students include living costs, because obviously you're not living with your parents here. But if you could be living with your parents if you're in-state resident, or you could be living with your parents out of state if you do the online program, right? But I recommend you go to this tuition calculator and really plug in your particular situation and figure out you'll get a good estimate there. If you start the MS program, you get 5 years to complete it. After 5 years, then you kind of have to start over. So you need to make sure you make a good plan. The catalog with all the courses can be found right there at that link. And as Dr. Spector and Dr. Kaplan-Rakowski have already mentioned, 9 credit hours is considered full-time, but you can absolutely enroll part-time if you have a job and you want to, and kids and a life, and you want to be able to focus on those things. International students do also have to do another step, which is they have to, check with UNT International. They have to apply through the international office and get questions about their visa requirements. even if you're already here on a visa and you're going to be starting a new program, never trust your friend's advice, never trust my advice, never trust anybody's advice. Go to the International Affairs Office and ask them. They will make sure you keep in your visa status. And then I know students are always worried about finances, and I understand that. So the Student Financial Services Office can help you with a lot of things, and you should find out what kind of scholarships you can apply for. And finally, we have a lot of resources at UNT to help you as well, to support you. So that is the end of the presentation. Did we get any more questions in the Q&A box while I was talking? I don't see any.
There were a lot of good questions, so thanks.
Yeah. If we don't have any more questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Is there anything else anyone wants to say at the end? Oh, wait, I see something in the Q&A. Aha. Are there any grants for grad students?
Lisa, this is Dana. Actually, want to just tackle just a quick thing about that. In the Zoom box, in the chat feature, I actually did click a link or put a link to a website under the graduate school website that really covers a lot of things about funding your graduate education. And there's a couple things to note, especially if folks haven't been in college for a while, or you're really learning about what it looks like. There are no Pell Grants for graduate students. So those of you who may have received that in your undergraduate education, that does not exist for graduate students. Now, there could be some university grants that are available, but many of our students are looking for the scholarship opportunities that we have. So be sure and check out that link under the graduate school funding section, and it provides links to lots of details and information about the scholarships. In addition to, Ravi, you might want to go look in about the assistantships that are in there. And so there's a lot of really good stuff in there. I just encourage everyone to go take a look at that, because it may be, specific to your situation and you want to read about all of the opportunities.
Thank you so much, Dana, for that information. I do see that there's one more question that was put in the chat, and then maybe two more questions in the Q&A box. Let's start with the one in the chat. It says, how long will it take to make a decision if an applicant for the PhD program has been accepted once the application is completed for fall 2022? Do you mean at what point do you have to respond, or when will you find out that you've been accepted? Dr. Spector, do you want to speak to that?
Well, what happens on the faculty side is we consider the applications. We don't wait until the end. So when we have a number of applications that are complete, we will start voting as a faculty member on admissions. And once we have made a decision, that decision is normally communicated to students within the same week, typically. So we don't wait until the end of March to make all the decisions. So we encourage early application so we can sort of gauge how many students we're going to have, which courses we're going to teach, and so forth. And so when we have 3 or 4 complete applications, they'll get circulated and the entire faculty votes on admissions or not.
Great. Okay. And then recommendation letters. Perla has a question about the recommendation letters. She wants to know if they can be from previous professors from undergrad. And is this for the MS or the PhD? I guess the MS if you're talking about undergrad. Does anyone want to answer about? Go ahead, Dr. Kaplan.
So we get letters of recommendation from various people, even neighbors, if somebody does not necessarily want to ask a former teacher. So there's no requirement of certain person writing a recommendation letter. And I saw also another question. How is there a cap or okay? So no, there is no cap. As you know, as Dr. Spector mentioned, we are a large department, so we are able to handle many students in a quality way, so no cap.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, so this is last call for questions then. If you have any more questions, go ahead and get them in the Q&A box before we finish up. You're not bugging us, Ravi. He said, I already have an active application on Apply Texas for the upcoming fall. Can I add this specialization to that application? What do you mean this specialization? Which specialization? You mean you want to add your track that you're interested in?
I think that's what he means, yeah.
Okay. And
so
what
I'm gonna jump in on that. Ravi, it may be better if you contact the graduate admissions office directly and we can work with you on any update to a current application that you have. So I'm going to suggest if you will email our office at gograd@unt.edu, and I'm typing that in the chat, gograd@unt.edu. And if you are applying for the PhD in learning technologies, it may be that you can add that track at some point later, but if it's available in the application, we can also add it now. But we'll talk with you offline about that.
Sounds great.
Yeah, in the doctoral program, the first semester in the program, we have students complete a degree plan to indicate their intentions as they go through the program. That can be updated as they go along the way, but that doesn't have to happen until the first semester in the program. You can put that kind of information though in the personal statement that you submit, and that also helps the faculty decide. We're looking to see if it's likely that you'll succeed in the program, and do we have the capacity to support you through the program, or the kinds of things the faculty thinks about.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Spector. Anyone else have a question? Okay, so Perla has another question. She says, since the MS offers online courses, how much collaboration is there between students? That's a good question.
It is a good question.
An excellent question. Very, very good one. So we actually have, technically students work on their own. However, we have lots of projects that involve collaboration with the other students. Also, there are classes that encourage teamwork in different diets. So there is interaction between students actually on daily basis, also through engaging students in different discussions, and sometimes we do have synchronous meetings. It kind of depends on the course and on the instructor, but it's not that you're only there with your Canvas courses. We have the whole community of students working together. So I hope it answers the question.
Thank you, Dr. Kaplan-Rakowski. I wonder if maybe Katie Bell, if she's still there, I see her cameras. Are you still there, Katie Bell? You want to give any example of a group project that you may have experienced while you were in the program?
Yeah, forgive me if my cat decides to take over my laptop.
We like cats.
I'm a full-time cat mom. But yeah, absolutely. I was a little curious. I completed the program entirely remotely, including my research with Dr. Baker. Dr. Baker and I have never been in the same room. So that's really saying something, that I could perform research with someone, get to the point where I could create a presentation and give to a professional society. That said, Dr. Baker is a faculty member who is used to working remotely and used to collaborating remotely. I've made a lot of really good colleagues and friends through the program. You'll kind of fall into some of the same courses with your cohort. You'll see the same names, and you'll get to learn about people. There are people I've become friends with and had great networking opportunities who worked at Amazon, and I worked on a presentation with them, or we researched an article together. And so we would meet asynchronously through email, or we would just schedule a time and meet via Zoom. But it really depends on the course that you're taking and the goals of the course. But it was a lot more collaborative than I thought. Here's my cat. And my cat was a part of it, part of that journey. But there's a lot of opportunities. And I think that's the beauty of learning technologies, is you're literally in the field of learning to build that community and connect with others.
Excellent. Thank you to you and your cat. We appreciate your your contribution. Okay, so we're coming up 2 minutes on the hour. I don't see any more questions in the chat right now in the question and answer box, but you've got about 1 more minute to get your question in if you have one. And if not, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. You're very welcome. I see some thank yous in the box, and you're very welcome. We're so glad that you could come be with us tonight and get this information. And we hope to see you. I'm sure Dr. Kaplan-Rakowski and Dr. Warren and Dr. Spector and Dr. Ahn hope to see you in classes soon.